Chapter 7, The Living Soul. Begin all acts and thinking by using Al-Haadi the All. Tablet 5, The Laws of Health. 19 times 8 equals 152. Lo, the law of health will be based on this fact. It is simple to understand all, and require only that a human should open their eyes to perceive the great elementary forces which support health. They are these: the blood requires motion, the great central organ of the stomach requires exercise and a suitable diet, the nervous system requires a regular amount of rest. When the physical and etheric are balanced in a cell, and in all cells of the body we have harmony, which results in good health. When the balance between physical and etheric life force is upset, and too little of the etheric life force is in the cell, and the tissues and the different parts of the body which depend on the balanced flow of etherical life force, it will become affected and you will feel abnormal in some way, and that's when you become ill. If the abnormal or imbalanced condition between the physical and the etheric is allowed to continue for any length of time, or by any force of circumstances, it cannot be changed very quickly. Not only is the vitality or strength of the entire human body taken away, but the person feels weak and distressed. Many of the cells in various parts of the body will begin to break down into their individual strength and will easily be attacked by germs or destructive cells that we take into the body under normal conditions. The result is then that these imbalanced cells throughout your body becomes disease, and the disease of different kinds will break out in some inner or outer part of the body before you have an opportunity to know exactly what is wrong. There are two outstanding classifications of diseases. The first is the class that is based on colds, where congestion of the blood and congestion of the nervous energy occurs, because the normal temperature of the blood has been lowered and it ceases to flow and act in a normal manner. The other class of disease is fever and heat. This is due to the fact that the harmony of the cells has been upset to such a degree that the disease germs are attacking the cells, and in the process of destroying and being attacked, the blood increases in temperature and we feel as though we are burning up. Between the two classes of colds and heat, there are hundreds of manifestations. All in all, it is the imbalanced state which exists between the physical world and the etheric or spiritual body which produces illness. Each blood cell must have a well-balanced power of vitality as it goes through the arteries and veins of the body. This vitality results from the proper relationship between the etheric form and the physical form. When you breathe into your lungs oxygen, this is physical. On the other hand, there is something else that is in the air which gives you life and vitality. Anu, Elyon Elyon El, the Most High, the Highest, puts it there. This is spiritual life force called the divine breath. As a red blood cell leaves the lungs and goes to the heart, it is pumped around through the system. It throws off some of its oxygen and vitality, and it picks up a little more of the mental part that forms its outer wall or shell. This is the way it strengthens itself in the physical sense, but it revitalizes itself as far as the life force is concerned, in that the life force is relinquished. It has distributed at the various capillaries in the physical form and has given strength and vitality to the physical form in this way. Eventually, the blood cell starts its journey through the veins to the heart again. By the time it reaches the heart, it has a strong physical shell with very little life force in the center of its body. It is then a revitalized cell, and the heart sends it up to the lungs once more to receive more of the life force in the center of its body. Then it descends from the lungs into the heart to be redirected through the body on its job of distributing vitals and life. And each time the blood cell in a normal healthy body leaves the lungs, it goes to the heart to steer its great job of vitality. It is a well-balanced, harmonious cell containing the proper portions of etherical life force, but after it has gone its way, giving up life force to the various parts of the body, and it's ready to come back to the lungs again, it is an imbalanced cell because its life force has left and changed the balancement. So it is important to make use of breathing exercises such as hoodoo, or what the Orientals call Tai Chi, to breathe in A and to breathe out La. You need to come in contact with your spiritual self, your etheric form. Remember this. Now you know the composition of your form of Cadman, son of Autumn and Lilith. Autumn equals A, Lilith equals La, Allah, male Yang, Alat, female yin. The body you wear is composed of 7 degrees of substance. These 7 substances vary in vibration. 3 are the main substances of physical form, and 4 of them are the main substances of the spiritual form. The spiritual form is the body of your life force. Without it, the physical form is without life. The spiritual form is the pattern upon which the physical form is built. It is the battery which recharges the physical form with life force. The form possesses 4 centers for absorbing and digesting spiritual forces, just as the physical form possesses organs to absorb and digest food. These vital 4 senses, you know them as seats of light and darkness. The spiritual form is at times taking tremendous psychic and spiritual forces through its various seats of light from darkness, and it sends them through the glands of the physical body as well as by the bloodstream. The spiritual form penetrates every cell of the physical form. It must at all times be able to properly discharge its duties of operation, that is, of properly absorbing and distributing life force of the unlit universe through its own centers. It must at all times be properly attuned to the dense physical form in order for perfect health to manifest in this lit up world. The 4 centers of the spiritual form lay upon and thoroughly penetrate the glands of the physical form and draw in solar energy and life force of the atmosphere, and then put them in the physical form by their counterparts, which are the physical glands. These 4 centers or seats of light are sockets into which the glands are plugged in order for the life force to flow into the physical form from the unlit world to the lit world. When your body becomes ill, what has happened is the physical and the spiritual forms have somehow become disconnected. The physical is cut off from its source of life force. Some connecting wires between the 2 forms have either been severed or damaged, and your inner light dulls. Your body begins filling with darkness. The cells starve for the life force vital energy and slowly die if the connection is not repaired. How do the Anunnaki or angels of green light fit into the process of healing? How are the healings manifested? What power is at work to help you regain your physical perfection? Sometimes instantly, sometimes over shadow hour, sometimes requiring longer. The great healing force, which operates under the direction of the subconscious mind, is available to everyone. It is a life force which, if properly directed, could keep you perfect in physical form, which could heal everything. It is the green light directed by Murdoch. Peace and blessings of Anu be upon you, ruler of Malakut. The secret is to understand how to direct his life force to release tension within. This is to stimulate its vibration to bring all the cells of your physical form into harmony, one with the other. Murdoch, peace and blessings of Anu be upon him, releases his same healing force within Elkut, the center of the sons of the green light. Through the mind power, focus with a full intensity upon the inner world and upon the acceleration and direction of the inner forces. You should employ the use of tafalat and meditation and visualization of the presence of the green light and affirmation of the power of its presence, and stimulating it through focalization of the thought force. This is the tremendous life energy within and surrounding the physical form. Through the focalized mind power, the green light forces act like a magnet stimulated within. It begins immediately to attract from the swirling sea of ethers around us the sweeping current of green light, which is awaiting to be drawn into any reservoir of life force, from the realm of darkness, the mental to the spiritual, to the plane of force, the seat of green energy. Thus, when it is stimulated, the physical form becomes an electromagnetic force, surging with increasing power, and it draws more and more potent currents into itself from the surrounding ethers. Every molecule, every atom which builds up the cells of the physical body is built around a minute center of light, which is the spiritual force, moving into the plane of force, the life seat. It is this infinite small light dot that is divine in aspect, the life of light from Anu, Elyon, Elyon, El, the Most High, the Highest, which is the secret power that holds together the atom and the molecule, that manifests from plane of force to the plane of physical. It is the center of the molecular solar system. The atom is nothing more than a tiny solar system charged with electric and magnetic power. If the atmosphere around you is completely charged with positive vitality and the currents of life force is of joy and happiness, it is from the Anunnaki Sarufat. Cadman, son of autumn, our physical form automatically will take enough of it to supply a perpetual flow so that he would never experience illness. However, human beings will constantly surround themselves with an aura of negative mental wavelengths, a force field of hates, prejudice and fears, doubt about the all. This is from the Anunnaki Garubat. Anxieties about their future and a complete lack of security and stability, low moral concepts, corrupted by spiritual values from Samael, who is known as the one who was removed from the skies, the red light. He is a force field vacant of faith, love and divine assurance. These negative mental forces completely overpower the life force within the etherical spiritual form from Michael, son of Enki and Damkina, the green light. Indeed, the wonder is that the physical form of human beings can survive at all, embattled on every hand as it is by unpredictable mental forces that will not keep from changing long enough to recharge and revitalize the cells of which it is composed. The first step necessary to restore perfection to the body is to instill complete faith in Anu El Elo, most glorified and exalted, and there does exist a vast reservoir of spiritual and life forces awaiting. It is only the human being's mental acceptance of them from the abode Malakat. This is the home of the Anunnaki, angelic beings, sons and daughters of Anu, Elyon, Elyon El. The first act, the act of having faith, is within itself a gigantic step forward towards breaking the negative mental force field. We need not have faith if we know. The Anunnaki Garubat and Lucifer Samael, also called Shaitan and Satan, the dragon or beast, he is so crystallized around human beings' physical form that it is indeed difficult to destroy the power that he, the evil one, exerts. This mental force has built a wall, an invisible wall, but almost impenetrable wall, which prevents the inflow of positive spiritual energies that are there. When each child of your seed will be born into the earthly plane, we will shield him from all evil at 30 steps like from the tree. Only you let Samael and his 200 sons will tarnish his father and the 1/3 of disagreeable Anunnaki that were cast out of the skies at the very breaking forth of day into the realm of your children. Now I, Michael, have shown you the secrets of life and breath. If you will become as one of us Anunnaki again. However, if not, you will go down into the earth. The gate will always be opened, the vortex which is the pathway to you if you can climb the path to the pure green light, which will lead you home. The crystal city awaits only 144,000. Each of you shall be called when your DNA explodes in awareness, and at that exact moment is when you are truly not alone. Your Ephraim parents have sent forth the Anunnaki to enlighten the chosen amongst you. Once your mind's eye is open and you can truly see with your inner being, then you will be prepared, and the ladder will be let down for you to climb each step to your place in the crystal city. Tablet 6, the reproductive process. 19 times 6 equals 114. Lo, sexual reproduction is the union of two cells to form one or more. This one formed cell then grows into a new living being or beings. The organs of the reproductive system may be divided into two groups: the gonad, which means the male and female sex organs, the testes and ovaries, a cell from which an egg or ovum develops by meiosis, a female gametophyte in which that produces germ cells called spermatozoa, and hormones called testosterone, estrogen and progesterone, and 2, a series of ducts for the transportation of germ cells. In the male, the penis is prepared to transfer germ cells into the body of the female. In the female, the uterus is changed or arranged to support the growth and development of the new living being. The spermatozoa, plus the secretion of the seminal vessels, of the prostrate gland, and of the bulbourethral glands, make up the semen, which is ejaculated into a woman. This thick greyish-white fluid has an average pH of about 6.5. Semen, or white blood, is ejaculated by means of contraction of the smooth muscle of the prostrate gland and the contraction of certain muscles in the urethra. In the average male, each cubic centimeter of semen contains 777,777,777 sperm cells. However, only one spermatozoa can fertilize an egg, and all that is left, the remainders will disintegrate. The fertilized egg reaches the uterine cavity in about 27 hours after fertilization. The frontal sinus is the cavity located between the eye. This is the sinus which accumulates mucus between the eyes. Women who are pregnant have a lot of sinus problems, and especially during the first few months of pregnancy. And this is because she has a lot of mucus buildup in her sinus cavities, which are responsible for sifting the particles so that they may be regenerated as flesh. This process takes place in what is called the sinus erectus, which is a cavity located outside of the cerebellum region of the brain. Each follicle of hair has its own nerves, which are connected to the brain. These nasal hairs filter particles that are breathed in. Each particle is energy. The fertilized egg is nourished during the passage from the fallopian tubes to the uterine cavity by the secretions from the mucous membrane lining the tube. The uterus is a hollow, thick-walled muscular organ. Its cavity communicates with those of the fallopian tubes above and with the vagina below. The upper portion of the uterus is called the body, and the lower constricted portion is called the cervix. The portion of the body above the entrance of the uterine tube is referred to as the fundus, which simply means the upper part of a hollow organ. From the embryo stage of a fetus, the mucus helps to shape the body. As a baby takes form, a gland called the aortic gland, which lie on either side of the aorta, in the region of the inferior mesenteric artery develops. The aortic gland measures about 1 centimeter in length. By the 6th month of development, the aortic gland is at full development. It helps the baby continue to develop its physical composition. The baby can will its own death and cause the gland not to continue to develop. This gland will cease to function, thereby causing what you call stillbirth. The size of the aortic gland will decrease in size with age and after puberty, which ranges in different ages depending on the hormonal changes. It can only be seen under a microscope. The aortic gland will reappear within 24 hours before a person dies, and it brings on the setting in of the rigor mortis process, which is the temporary rigidity of muscles occurring after death. The kidney and liver work together to cleanse the body of its liquid impurities. The liver filters poisons from the blood, and it is the largest gland in the body. It lies across the width of the abdomen at the lower margin of the ribs on your right side. The liver has many functions which are important to the body, including the production of bile, a bitter yellowish liquid necessary for the complete digestion of fats. Bile is about 98% water. Among the solid substances dissolved in water are bile pigments, which give the bile a golden brown color. Also, in the bile are bile salts, which emulsify the fats in the small intestine. This is a necessary step before the fat can be broken down into fatty acids and glycerol. About 1 pint and 2 quarters of bile is secreted daily by the liver. The kidneys filter poisons from all the other liquids in the body. The 2 kidneys, each resembling a 5-inch long kidney bean, are located on either side of the vertebral column, just under the ribs. 2 large arteries, the arteries pertaining to the renal organ, liver, deliver about 1/4 of the blood discharged from the heart into the kidneys. An enormous quantity of blood, about 1800 or 1900 quarts, passes through the kidney every day. The kidneys filter waste substances and excess water, urea, mineral salts, and other products from the blood. They return the blood to the heart through 2 renal veins. The only substances that do not pass through the kidneys are those that are too large. Red and white blood cell platelets, droplets of fat, and very large protein substances. These substances return to the main blood circulation. In each kidney, the waste substances collect and are expelled in fluid form through the urethra. Every day, the body produces about 2 quarts of urine. The lifespan of human beings can vary from death in the womb to no more than 120 years. The supreme being or soul of a human being would live to the equivalent of 1,000 years. For every 1 day for the Anunnaki of the 1,000 years, this would mean that there are 365 days in an Earth year, based on the movement of your planet around your sun. Each year of that would be 365,000 days at 1,000 years per one of those, 365 days of your 365-day year. So then, you multiply 365,000 by 120 years, and the answer is 43,800,000 years that each human being's soul lives. The actual manifestations of the opening of the seventh seal was the sighting of the six-pointed star. It was there that those Anunnaki listened to the diabolical plans to overthrow Michael. Many were seduced with disagreeable suggestions. Some of the jinns repented, and Anu Elyon Elyon El, the Most High, forgave them. They became protectors of the Gate of Gan, the enclosed Garden of Delight, and the Ark of the Tabernacle. They are the four beasts of hideous forms from Salat. They protect the 23 elders. One has the face of the disagreeable in the form of a male living being. The next has the face of a lion with the nature of the disagreeable. The next has the face of a bull with the aggressive nature. The next has the face of an eagle having a treacherous nature. After the defeat of Shakar and his army, the Anunnaki divided according to the nature of their creation. There was the Anunnaki Garubat, who fought against Michael, son of Enki and Damkina. They were created of poisonous smokeless fire, the Amber Light. Then there were the Anunnaki Sarufat, who remained loyal to Michael. They all came together from all parts of Ilion, all the planets of the Father constellation, before the birth of the planet Earth, and are created of the pure illuminating violet light that shrouded their beloved angelic ruler Michael. When his state is of the physical state, his green essence is the life force of vegetation. These Anunnaki began to live separately according to their nature, and on that great day, when Ninurta put Zuen to death, and all of the Anunnaki, the good Sarufat, rejoiced at the return of the Akasha records, the Tablet of Destiny, to the hands of the great Enlil. On that same day, did the son of Tarnish vow vengeance on the creation of the Anunnaki called Adama. He, Halal, son of Shakar, known also as Samael and Nakash, who is Iblis, gathered his 200 and cried, "Revenge must be." And in time, when the Anunnaki had placed these chosen beings in the enclosed Garden of Delight, Nakash set out for revenge, to undermine Kalkael and to turn him into a liar in the eyes of his creation. And by whispering evil suggestions into the heart of the female part of Cadman, did Nakash accomplish his plan, and cause the great plan to foil. For man did begin to doubt the Anunnaki, and refused to give the third part of himself into their trust. Thus man fell from grace of the Anunnaki, and into the clutches of Nakash, who is Iblis. This Nakash vowed to alter the deeds that appear disagreeable and make them appear agreeable to the seed of this third son, Cadman, who was once in the image and after the likeness of the Anunnaki, being both agreeable from his father Autumn and disagreeable from his mother Lilith. Thus, it is said that now Cadman has become like one of us, to know his agreeable side and his disagreeable side, when at first, like a lion raised with the sheep, he knew only one side. Thus he too had to be maimed, and this momentum had led to the removal of the Bathry gland, which produces the hormone serin, a green substance that filters the chlorine through the body and activates the melanin, stimulating the nerve fibers in the hippocampus area of the brain that opens the higher senses. With this removed, he became maimed and no longer a deity, a mere mortal. His son, Seth's son, became a mortal called Enos, and he was cut off from the courts of the Anunnaki, from their presence, from their guidance, and from their voices was assigned but one, Tammuz, who is called Yahweh. Tablet 7, the Forces of Will. 19 times 1 equals 19. Lo, it is these two forces of agreeable and disagreeable that have a direct influence on the will of human beings, yet they are but one force. Elyon Elyon El, the Most High, created the agreeable Anunnaki from light, and the jinn or the Anunnaki of the lesser light from fire. Thus, it is related that in order for Anu Elyon Elyon El, the Most High, to create anything spiritual or physical, there had to be a state to contain something. This condition was the state of nothingness. So splendid and fine was this state of Anu Elyon Elyon El, the Most High's existence, that it was not even included in creation. So Anu Elyon Elyon El, the Most High, created a state of nothingness in which to place the 99 elements that made up the something known, the sum of things, weight. Then he created something. That something was in a state of darkness, a state of supreme balancement. One of the first things which Anu Elyon Elyon El, the Most High, the Highest, created inside the darkness was the light in the darkness. The light fathered objects, and objects created subjects, creating subjection. When the light manifested in the darkness, it became the name of Anu. being he fathered light. In time, light gained a purpose that was in opposition to the very darkness in which it was created. In due time, that light wanted to rule the darkness too. In fact, it immersed itself in the darkness until there was no darkness. Yet, light must reflect. Reflection has a point in time and space. Thus, the brightest of lights is merely a beam in supreme balancement. Thus, light can never remove the darkness, but merely wear its garment and dream of its authority. Thus, you have the spark of life, the living. On the first things of which Anu the soul created was the quill, and of the first things which Anu, who he is created, was the intellect, and he commanded as he pleased. He said, "By you I grant and by you I forbid, by you I establish and you I appoint." Tablet 8, the Enoshite, mortal man, 19 times 3 equals 57. Lo, all of you children of Nuwaupu, you have embarked on the name Nuwaupian. I, your master teacher, who you know as Malachi Zadok York El, have been sent to you to break the spell. I am about to impart on your mind the mechanics of what you call the master organ, or simply the brain, which works with the mind. Know that your mind was a special gift given to you by your ancestors, whom I call your descendants, for they came down to you from above. They are called the Anunnaki, who are the Elohim, and Al-Mala'ikat, the angelic beings, the ruler of which is Al-Malak, who is Anu, called El-Elo or Anu, Allah and Yahweh, or Theos, or God to many, all within El-Kalun the All. Within the confines of these pages, you shall embark upon the knowledge of the mind, in which is working with the brain and the nervous system, 3 out of your whole body and being. The brain is one of the most intricate of organs within itself, and it was created by El-Elo, the Most High. This knowledge which I am giving to you has never been taught to you by any. Remember, my dear Nuwaupian, with right knowledge you can receive right wisdom and right overstanding over all. This is the science of your way of life, Nuwaupu, which is the Miller of the Anunnaki Elohim. Let me begin by giving you the nature of the Hamim, who is the mortal man, the human being. Know to you as Enoshites, the children of Enos, the son of Seth, who in tones is called Sheth, and in rhythm Sheith, and his wife Aklamia. O ye children of Enos, know that ye have fallen from being to supreme being to human to man, to mortal, to mammal. Don't fall any further, my children. Study this small scroll. When the Enoshite searches for happiness, they invariably turn to external objects and events for satisfaction. They merely think, if I could just have that car, or if I were just able to get that job, or if I only lived here or there, then I would be happy. They have no perception of the fact that the mind can be still and at peace for a short time on attaining the desired object, but eventually the mind becomes tired of the newly made toy and seeks treasure elsewhere, still in search of happiness. However, know this, my child, each time the external objects fails to bring happiness, the Enoshite may acquire a new material possession, a position with more responsibility, money, and a new dream home, being locked in person, places, and things. However, my child, there always remains the same mind. However, your mind is an elusive animal to tame. Many a theory exists on how it works, yet the human processes seem to remain intangible. Why does one so often find him or herself caught in the same frustration and the same problems? It is said that this is a free society, but in truth, it is each Enoshite's own desires and emotions that blind the Enoshite. Consider this Enoshite, a person who smokes cigarettes daily, claiming they are determined to stop tomorrow. How many years has the Enoshite been caught in this parade? The Enoshite truly wants to be free of the habit, but she lacks the necessary control over his or her own mind. In a sense, the mind is like a record or a laser disc. It contains grooves or impressions. These impressions are formed when certain thought waves become habitual. The benevolent example would be if an Enoshite passes a bakery and sees a chocolate cake in the window. How delicious, the Enoshite says, I will buy that cake. If he or she ignores that thought wave and turns his or her mind to something else, then no pattern is formed. However, if he or she identifies with the thought, the Enoshite gives life to it. The Enoshite buys the cake, looking forward to enjoying it as a dessert for that evening. Now, suppose the Enoshite finds he or she must pass the same bakery every Wednesday and Friday. Each time the Enoshite goes by, he or she recalls that wonderful cake again, and she purchases another. Now ponder this. What was originally just a flash in the mind has become a force in his or her life. Grooves in the mind are not necessarily negative. There can be grooves in the mind which are uplifting, and then there are those which bring one down. There must be a striving to develop love, compassion, a sense of service, cheerfulness, kindness, and many other qualities, which not only make one's own life happy, but which radiates to others. Everyone wants to be his or her best. Each person would like to think that he or she is perfect, yet, despite these repeated resolutions, every person finds out so many times that they are less than what they would like to be. The cause of this predicament is the ego, or the Anki in Aramaic Hebrew, or Al-That in Syriac Arabic, and ego in Greek. And as we say in the Warpic Thawat, the ego, my child, is the cause of all bondage, and it is the chief barrier to the experience of reality.